welcome back to my channel and welcome to another update with Val Nek and myself and the Galactic Federation. So it was the best of times and it was the worst of times. And I've been noticing, I've noticed people calling these like really bleak times. These are really hard times. And then there's some people, maybe not as many, that are like, these are the best of times. And so I feel like actually they're the best of times. And I think that the movie The Sound of Freedom was really a testament to that. This is something to be exposed or to be brought to light on a massive scale. That's something that truthers or people in the community or people that have followed the letter 17 have waited for so long. And it seems like, well, it doesn't seem like, to me, it's obvious, so many things are coming to light, especially surrounding three-letter agencies, government leaders, stuff like that. Like, it's all right in front of your face. But what's fascinating is people still see the world, or still see Earth as, or our situation being bleak. And that to me, that's because we're seeing things through our own eyes, our own perception, right? No matter the things could be right in front of your face, and you could still find a reason to be upset or unhappy, right? And it's part of the programming of the subconscious. So when we talk about the Great Awakening, what's really happened is we're all choosing to raise our vibration and spiritually awaken. And so stuff in the subconscious comes forward, right? And it's usually what's happened here is we've chosen to create dense, negative, lower vibrational consciousness it's coming up and it's coming to the surface. So that's why I see some people who maybe aren't as aware of that information, that, sometimes you see the world the way that you are, or the way that your subconscious is, see it as bleak times, and some people see it as the best of times. So it just depends on your understanding, and this is a perception, a filter that's coming from the mind. So can we choose to awaken and expand through the heart? And then things will be happier, and you might not feel like things are so serious, right? And the reason that I make jokes or I laugh a lot is because I genuinely feel that way. I feel like these are the best of times. So, and I want to comment too. I made a couple videos, and some people felt that I was denying evil, right? And I'm not denying evil. I'm suggesting it doesn't have as much power as you think it does, or it only has as much power as you give it, right? So, and then once you realize that, then you cultivate your inner strength, and then you start to laugh in the face of evil, because it's kind of like, it's a joke. It's a joke. And I find interesting too, we tend to give, I've said this before, I may have said this the last Q&A, but it's worth repeating. We tend to give Satanists or people who worship the devil too much power. Those to me are people who are dancing around in costumes. And the only reason they have power is because they believe they do, and because you believe they do. So if you want to empower yourself, then it comes from the understanding that nothing can have power over you. And so therefore Satanism and the devil are not as scary, and it becomes like, I don't know, Halloween. Really silly. So yeah, that's kind of my take on that. And then the other thing is, I made a funny video, but I was trying to prove a point about aliens, and it was titled "Aliens Don't Exist," right? And so, how do I say that? That topic, or the topic of aliens, is something that we've created here, because there aren't really when you live on a planet, right, the people on the next planet over are not considered alien to you, the idea that we've created on planet Earth, if you can travel back and forth, right? So it's just like, oh, it's just the people on the next planet, whatever. So that was a funny video. If you didn't watch it, I encourage you to take a peek. So let me get a drink of water. And so I will start with questions for Val Nek. He says, please tell them I say hello. I am with, of course, my supervisor. We are here to answer your questions. They're kind of sitting like this. So kind of the hot topic on planet Earth, Val Nek, is our government holding a congressional hearing about UFOs, and do you have any comments on this? They're both kind of smiling. He says, there are many distractions in place at this time. We consider this to be one of them. Sometimes your government, certain agencies, he's underlying that in my head, certain agencies, they hold distractions. This is my opinion. They want to scare your people. Many of your people have distrust in the government. This will not work. Their plan will not work. They want to scare your people. My advice, pay attention to yourself, strengthen within yourself. This is the way. This is true disclosure. And he's underlying that in my head. So when you say, I don't know if you can answer any more questions. He's already saying no. You know, telepathy happens so fast. But I wanted to ask if he could be more specific about agencies, what agencies they are. And he said, for Megan's safety, we cannot disclose at this time. We watch everything. The Alliance included. They are aware of it. They are aware of these distractions. I have mentioned before, some of your military is good. They work with us. Some of them, they are being dismantled. This is a process. And he's saying, stay tuned. And he's showing me popcorn and eating popcorn. Okay. Yeah, I kind of felt like, when I watched like little clips of it online, I just kind of felt like, and it implied, some of the information implied, like it's like they never talk about the good extraterrestrials. It implied that there's malevolent extraterrestrials, which is true. But if I'm hearing about this stuff for the first time, I want to know. I'd want to know about the good ones too. I don't know. That would make me feel better. But you know, that's just my perspective. But I felt just when I scroll through stuff or when I see information, sometimes I get just That's how I felt about it. So this is also a big question about people, Val Nek, or that people have, because we've been talking about how the Federation can't be public or isn't going to make contact or isn't going to show themselves, right, until the technology on planet Earth is up to par with the Federation's. And so, or at least more advanced, so that we're not considered a developing society because it's part of the Federation's body of laws. Our technology has to be more advanced so that we can meet them at their level. And so people are wondering, Val Nek, like, is that going to happen in their lifetime? There's people that are saying they're in their 60s or 70s, and they're wondering if it's going to happen in their lifetime, or if you can't give any timeline about the technology, or the timeline about when the technology will be ready. Can you say anything about it? Or can you say anything about when extraterrestrial disclosure, like how or when it will take place, part of the Alliance's plans? He says, the information I can give is very limited. You are welcome to speculate. Your military releases this information, their timelines, they are correct. Pay attention. He's showing me, he's saying, I have said this before, it will take many years. And they're just, he and his friend are talking. He's saying as far as disclosure, it is a team effort, and he's underlying it. He's talking about, he's showing me the letter 17. Many of you know of this operation. Many of you deny it. I can confirm it is accurate, the best of the best. It will happen in this format. From the Alliance, the U.S. Navy, the best of the best. He says, pay attention. We have a plan. He says, there are phases to disclosure. His friend is stopping him. This is all I can disclose. Is that all? He says yes. Next question. So I'm going to use my human words of my understanding of this. Is that, and I'll ask you a question too, like when you guys are going to come down from the sky, he says, I can be more specific. I know what Megan is saying. We have mentioned it before and I can repeat. And he's winking. The ships will be in your skies. It will not be a surprise. He's thinking again. He says, it will be obvious. Your technology will be improved. And so I'm just going to use my words because it's easier. So, for example, I'm not going to come on YouTube and be like, the Federation is coming, the aliens are coming. They're laughing. He says that will not be the case. It is a team effort. He's underlying multiple people involved, and he's underlying the letter 17, saying it will be in this format. I can confirm. So I'm not going to come on, and this is my opinion, I'll speak from my opinion. I don't feel YouTube will be the same as it was, if it even exists at that point. We might not even have cell phones at that point. Cell phones are really, it's like 1800s technology, cell phones actually, in my opinion, from my perspective. A lot of, and so I'm not going to come on YouTube. It's not going to come from one person announcing to the world that aliens are coming. I don't need to be that girl. I don't want to be that person. But so it sounds like it will be a team effort. Technology will be totally different. And our government and the contracts that have contracted like through SpaceX have given time frames already. So, so we're welcome to speculate and research that ourselves. He says, it is my duty to protect the anonymity, I'm not going to say this word correctly. It is my duty to keep certain operations a secret. I will use that word. He's saying you are welcome to speculate. Okay. Okay, let me just get a drink of water. So Val Nek, this is a good question. And I don't know if this has ever happened before, maybe in the past, but if the Galactic Federation had a ship that crashed on planet Earth, what would happen? He says we have a special team. We have a team to recover bodies. We have a team to recover the ship. It is a special operation, a risky operation. In the past, we've had enemies on planet Earth. Enemies who want to kill us. It is important it is done quickly. We have mastered this skill. And he's winking. He's saying, I can confirm it is rare that this happens. It has happened before. No bodies have been recovered ever. He says, the U.S. government, they do not have us. They cannot touch us. It is part of our operations. We take care of our own. So in the past, Val Nek, there's been ideas like there's been other documents or documents in disclosure that people have found on the internet saying that certain ships have been dropped, like purposely crashed without bodies in them so that our government or other people can reverse engineer them. Is that the case? They're talking. He's saying these were not Federation ships. They may have been other groups. The Council of Five, this is a popular option. They love to do it. They're laughing. They have different laws. They don't abide by the same laws we do. I have said this many times. We've worked with the U.S. Navy, part of the Air Force, for many years. We have given them plans long time ago. So those ships that have been dropped off in different places, you think that they probably are from the Council of Five. He says, I have permission to confirm. Advanced spacecraft. Landed in the right hands. Okay. He's saying, I will remind people we are two separate organizations. We work together. And he's referencing the Council of Five, and he's referencing the Federation. They have their own way of doing. Sometimes this is the way they do it. Okay. So, hold on, let me get a drink of water. Is there a judicial system in 5D? Like, do people on your home planet go to jail, or are they arrested for crimes? Does the Federation use a judicial system to punish people? So I'll be specific. Can you answer the question about your home planet first so that people don't get confused? Because the Federation is military and their rules might be different when they're in the orbit of Earth. He says, on my home planet, we've eradicated this problem. We do not kill each other. Our consciousness is evolved. This is not part of my race. We do not do this. He's saying on planet Earth, planet Terra, things are different. Your people have gotten confused. You have been interfered with. Your consciousness, how do I say it? Interfered with. On some level, you have allowed this. You have allowed this to grow. And he's showing me reptilians specifically. He says, I do not like them. They are aggressive. So on planet Earth, right? So our consciousness, our ego brain, he's interrupting me again. He's saying your genetics have been tampered with by other races, some for good, some for bad. This is part of the problem. Everybody has a choice. Everybody has a choice to evolve. He's saying this is your choice. So I guess murdering humans is an Earth problem. But also, even genetics aside, we tend to take on, like even when someone projects their ego, like when you're a child and a parent or whoever, a teacher can project themselves onto you, you might mistake that energy for your own, and then you start to recreate it in your own ego, right? And so that's kind of what's happened with malevolent extraterrestrials too, also. And yeah, we've been tricked into destroying each other. I agree. So the second part of the question, Val Nek, is, does the Federation use a judicial system to punish people? He says in the orbit of Terra, we absolutely do. He's saying it is part of our laws, part of your military. Your military does this as well. We do not allow crime. It is against the rules, against the law. And he's winking. He's showing me the moon. He's saying, I have mentioned before, the moon has a prison. And he's showing me, okay, hold on. He's saying in some cases, we get information from these beings. And he's showing me, this has been there for many years. And he's saying the dark side of the moon. And he's showing me like a cell, basically. And it has, he's saying higher density technology, the best of the best. And he's showing me like a gray in the cell, and it like freezes them a little bit. Like they cannot move. Um, he's saying it's a higher frequency. It does not allow them to shift density. They must stay in place. Part of our operations. It is important. Okay. I see. It makes sense. He says, when I say information, it is their consciousness. We do not need them to speak. We need their codes of consciousness. This unlocks many things. They operate on hive consciousness. They have hive computers. I am asking my supervisor, there, he's nodding his head. He's showing me, he's showing me China, and he's showing me different countries all over the earth, but specifically China, and he's showing me computers, and it's in a higher density. It's not necessarily, there's different layers to it, okay? So it might appear in 3D, but it's also, and when I say higher density, the malevolent extraterrestrials also have higher density technology, but the Federation has even higher density technology. So it's a computer programmed via hive consciousness, dangerous to the people. I can disclose this is no more. Last year, we dismantled this. A great success. U.S. Navy Special Forces, the best of the best. They wanted to control your people. They wanted to control Terrans via hive consciousness. I wanted to mention too, I forgot to say in the beginning of this video, like the fact that we're all disagreeing with each other, even though it looks chaotic and like people get really angry at each other and blah blah blah, or that there's different narratives going on about what people think is going on in the world, that's like a huge success. Like, that's a win. That's a win, because the plan was that we're all thinking the same, that we don't have individual thought, and that we don't have individual opinions. So the fact that we are thinking differently and expressing ourselves differently, and even if we're fighting with each other about it, that's a huge win for humanity. Like, we have no idea. And the transhumanist agenda, everyone's afraid of it, but they've been doing it for a long time. They've already been doing that. So people just don't realize it. So he's saying a very good question. He was winking. Well, speaking of AI or artificial intelligence, do you guys have a way that how does the Federation program their information systems, or basically their computers? Okay, hold on, let me get a drink. Sometimes I lose my voice when I'm talking. So, he's saying we do this in a variety of ways. We collect data, we collect information from many different planets. The Federation has an advanced system. It is necessary to know all this information. Different operations. Some information is private on our data systems. Military only, and he's underlying it. I've mentioned before how they interface with computers. They basically read the computer and they exchange information with the computer, but the person is in control of which information they're accessing. And he's basically showing me like a holographic, he's saying it's in a higher density. Keep going. It's, I want to call it a computer, but it's not like a little box, like a laptop or anything. It looks like a ball, a higher frequency. There's some material, but this isn't in 3D. There's some material that it's made out of. It is foreign to planet Terra. We have made agreements with some of your people, some companies, to manufacture this far into the future. It is a secret. He's winking. But it's a ball, and it's glowing, sort of, and he's showing me different members of the Federation in different uniforms. Like, some people are scientists, some people are military commanders, and it depends on who they are. And I've mentioned that they also have implants as well. Remember, technology is a tool. And depending on who they are, they have access to a certain amount of information. He's saying this is how the Federation does it. The person responsible for this, he's showing me the commander of technology. He programs everything. He and his team. It is important. Okay. So another thing that people are interested in knowing your perspective on, Val Nek, is the transgender agenda. Are there transgender people in 5D? What do you think of government changing the sex of our children? He says, I do not like it. I do not agree with it. This is my opinion. I stand by it. He's saying in 5D, we do not have this. We do not do this to our people. This is confusion. It doesn't make sense. He's showing me the grays, the tall grays, the Mitra from Orion. He's saying, I have mentioned before, your people have been messed with. Your people have become confused. This is part of it. Is that all you want to say? He's saying that's my message. You know, when you're in 5D, things are much lighter. Like, things are not as solid and things are not as dense. So, for, like, no pun intended, like, there's more space. And so there's more, like, you feel more connected to who you are on a soul level. You just feel more connected to who you are. So there's less density to filter through. But nothing is wrong or right. Everything is an experience, right? So this is basically why anyone incarnates to planet Earth, and whatever they choose to do with themselves is basically an experience, right? So that's what we're doing here. Is it true that the mantids have erected a frequency fence around our solar system to assist the Federation in protecting Terra? They're laughing. He's thinking. I don't want to offend your people. He's saying, I can confirm as High Commander of the Federation, this is not the case. He's saying these beings, they are not helpful to the Federation. He's showing me planet Mars. He's saying in some cases they cause disruption. They are not like us. The feeling that he's giving me is that these beings are not, like, necessarily predators, but they're just kind of like bugs. I don't mean to sound funny, but they're more like a nuisance. He's saying in rare cases they work with us as pets. He's laughing. But he keeps showing me planet Mars, and I'm watching them interact, and they have their intelligence level. It feels like they're not as sentient as we would be. He's saying this is correct. They are a different race. They are a different species completely. They are not members of the Federation. He's reminding me that the Federation is a military, and there's different races that are part of the military, and these ones are just not members of it. He's saying in some cases they are considered a regressive species. And he's showing me he's showing me, this is a satellite. he's saying, in your words, it can be a satellite. And he's winking. He's saying higher density between 6th and 7th and 6th and 7th density. He's showing me the satellites everywhere. He's saying property of the Federation. We monitor stargates, we monitor portals, we monitor everything. And then he's showing me like it's like the frequency radiates out, and it expands, and it picks up anything that goes. It's like a fence, but it's like it's like a frequency that goes out, and it is fence-like, and that if anything goes through it, then I see the satellite get an alert, and it goes to the high command station of the Federation. He says, if necessary, we get the signal and we deploy our troops, the best of the best. This is how we do it. He's saying, I can confirm this has been there for many years, since the war started. Okay. Okay, I guess that answers that question. Do you guys have movies in 5D? Well, I'll just say they don't have television off planet or in 5D. And so do you guys watch movies like Earth movies or Earth films? Or do you, Val Nek? He says, I don't often pay attention. I have seen Megan watch films. She watches strange shows. I do not like them. They are strange. She has watched one film, The Best of the Best. I like it very much. That is the only one. And it's Top Gun. It's Tom Cruise. He's saying, a very good film. I like it. The only one. He's underlying. So he doesn't like anything else that I watch. Your people's fascination with television, it is strange. A waste of time. I do not understand it. For them, it's like sitting on the couch watching, first of all, their energy levels are much higher than ours, and they are more like, their bodies feel very vibrant, and that they like to move all the time, or they have an extreme amount of energy. They do sleep, but not like we do, not for like 8 hours like we do. And they don't get tired like we do. Maybe like in some cases a mental type exhaustion, but physically it doesn't make sense for them to like need to relax on the couch. But I do. I do. So another question, Val Nek, is someone says he's saying that he's running out of time. Okay. Can you have time for 2 more questions? He says yes. Okay, well, I'll just do one. The star Beteleguese, I don't know, it sounds like Beetlejuice. I don't know, I butchered it. But in the Orion constellation, will it explode in our lifetime? He's saying, I have said before, there are many distractions. I believe this is one of them. You do not have to worry. Do not consent to fear. This is my message. And he's saying, I salute them. And then he's just saying that they have something to do. So okay. All right. Well, I love you guys, and I'll be back with more videos.